All right, ready to dive deep. Today, it's all about self-awareness. We're talking reflective journaling.
Yeah, I think sometimes we just need that pause button, you know?
Totally. Life gets so busy, we forget to, process everything. And that's where journaling comes in.
Exactly.
And get this, we've got 50 prompts to guide us. 50 from Stallion. They're all about beautiful journals and even better, insightful prompts.
I'm actually really impressed by how they've organized them. It's not like just a random list.
Oh, yeah.
They have categories for exploring your past, understanding your present, even dreaming about the future. Super smart.
I have to admit, when I saw 50 prompts, I was a little overwhelmed.
Yeah, I can see that.
But you're right, those categories make it way less scary, like chapters in a book or something.
Exactly.
So speaking of chapters, where should we start this self-discovery journey?
Well, I'm always fascinated by how our past kind of shapes who we are today.
Oh, for sure.
So maybe we start with the prompts about exploring the past.
Okay, I like it.
Well, Stallion says, and this is a quote, reflecting on your past allows you to honor your journey and understand the experiences that have shaped who you are today.
I love that. It's not about dwelling, right?
No, not at all.
It's about understanding how it affects us now.
Right.
Like, think about relationship patterns or those beliefs that hold us back. They often come from our past experiences.
Yeah, definitely. So there's this one prompt that really stood out to me.
Okay, tell me.
Write about a childhood memory that still brings you joy.
Oh, wow.
What made it so special, and how does it influence your perspective today?
That's a good one.
Yeah.
What do you think about that one?
Well, it's about going back to those happy memories, you know, and seeing how they've maybe shaped how we see the world.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Sometimes just remembering those joyful times can really, really help with stress.
Oh, absolutely. It's like tapping back into that kid-like wonder. You know, for me, I remember building forts in the woods with my siblings.
Yeah.
Hours we would spend. It was just pure magic.
That's awesome.
And it reminds me, even now, to be creative, to be adventurous.
I love that. It shows how those early experiences, they stick with us,
They really do.
impact our values and how we approach life. There's another prompt here.
Okay.
It says, reflect on the last time you said goodbye to someone or something.
Ooh.
How did it help you grow or move forward? What comes to mind for you with that one?
Oh, goodbyes. Those are tough. But you know what? They can also be powerful.
I agree.
I'm thinking about when a close friend moved across the country. Heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But it also taught me to cherish the present,
Yes.
and to actually say how I feel, to be open.
That's so valuable. It reminds us that even through those hard times, there's always learning and growth.
But sure.
And sometimes saying goodbye, even if it's hard, it can make space for something new.
Absolutely. And speaking of new and wonderful things, I think it's time we move to the present moment
Oh, yeah, let's do it.
with those prompts about understanding, where we are right now.
Okay.
Stallion says, and this is another quote, embracing the present moment allows you to find clarity and contentment, even in the midst of challenges.
I love that quote. So true.
I couldn't agree more.
I think that's a huge benefit of journaling in general. It brings us back to the here and now.
Yeah.
It can be so grounding, especially when life feels kind of crazy.
For sure. And some of these prompts are really practical. Like this one, reflect on how you spend your mornings. What small changes could make your start to the day more fulfilling?
I love that one. I mean, our mornings set the tone for the whole day, right?
They really do.
Even little things like 5 minutes of meditation or just enjoying tea quietly can make a huge difference.
It's amazing how much those little things can matter.
Yeah.
Have you made any changes to your morning routine lately?
Oh, you know what? I have.
Really?
I actually just started adding a quick gratitude practice, just writing down 3 things I'm grateful for.
Oh, wow.
It's simple, but it's been a game changer. Starting the day with that positive mindset,
I love that. It's a perfect example of how just a little shift in perspective can change everything.
Totally. There's another one I like. Write about a challenge you're facing right now. What steps can you take to move through it with resilience?
Oh, that one's so relevant.
Yeah.
Like a reminder that everyone faces challenges.
Right.
And encourages us to be proactive.
Exactly. What about you? Any challenges you're working through?
One of the biggest ones lately has been work-life balance. It's so easy to get caught up in work demands.
It really is.
But I'm learning to set boundaries and to put self-care first.
That's so important. And this prompt can really help break down those big challenges into smaller steps.
Yeah, yeah.
It's about taking action, even if it's just a tiny step.
Right.
And focusing on what we can control, even when things feel uncertain.
I like that. And sometimes, honestly, just admitting the challenge, giving yourself permission to struggle,
Yeah.
that can be really powerful.
Oh, for sure. Like you're not alone in it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And speaking of looking ahead, I think it's time we jump into those prompts about dreaming about the future.
Oh, yeah. The fun part.
Right. Stallion says, dreaming about the future helps you create a roadmap for the life you want to build, filled with purpose and joy. And I'm all about that. Creating that roadmap for joy.
Me too. It's important.
I think these prompts are great for sparking our imagination and helping us figure out what we really want.
Yeah, definitely.
There's one that caught my eye. It says, think about a skill or hobby you've always wanted to explore. What's holding you back and how can you start? What about you? Any stand out for you?
That's a good one. I think it encourages us to think about those passions we've maybe put on hold.
Yeah.
And then, think about how to actually, bring them back into our lives. So what about you? Any skills or hobbies you've been wanting to try?
You know, I've always been fascinated by languages, learning a new language. But I've always let fear hold me back.
Oh, I get that.
Self-doubt. But, maybe this is the push I need.
Could be.
I could, find a beginner's course online.
That's a good idea.
Or even just a language learning app.
Yeah, start small. It's not about, being fluent overnight.
Right.
It's about enjoying the learning, challenging yourself.
You're so right. It's about the journey. And speaking of journeys, there's another prompt about vacations.
Oh, tell me.
Imagine your perfect vacation.
Okay.
Where would you go? Who would you take? And what experiences would you cherish? It's like a little mental escape.
I love that one. So fun to think about. What does your ideal vacation look like?
Ooh, that's tough. But I think it would involve exploring a new culture. Maybe somewhere in Southeast Asia.
Oh, cool.
Beautiful landscapes, amazing food. And of course, I'd want to share it with loved ones.
Ah, that sounds amazing. I can practically feel the sunshine, smell the spices.
Right.
It's the power of these prompts. They let us escape into our imagination.
Totally. And that visualization can be so powerful.
I agree. Like planting a seed for the future we want.
Exactly. And speaking of creating a fulfilling future, I think it's time we shift gears to those prompts about self-awareness.
Okay. Sounds good.
Because after all, self-awareness is the foundation for making conscious choices. Living a life that's true to us.
It really is. And it's important.
Stallion says self-awareness is the foundation of personal growth. By looking inward, you can better understand and nurture your true self. And these prompts are like keys to unlock that deeper understanding.
They really are. So they really encourage us to look at those beliefs, values, motivations.
Yeah.
There's one prompt here. It asks about a time when you felt disconnected from yourself.
Yeah.
How did you find your way back? I think that one can be really telling.
Yeah, it's like reflecting on those times when we felt lost, out of alignment.
Yeah.
And then what helped us reconnect with who we really are.
Right. Exactly.
For me, nature is always a powerful way to ground myself.
Oh, I get that.
To reconnect with what really matters. What about you?
For me, it's usually through something creative.
Okay.
Like writing or painting or even just doodling. It helps me tap into those emotions,
Yeah.
and process them in a healthy way.
I love that. It just shows how there's so many different paths
Totally.
to self-discovery. What matters is finding what works for you.
Exactly.
And speaking of individuality, there's another prompt that asks us to name 3 core values, the ones that guide our lives.
Oh, that's a good one.
Such a foundational exercise, I think.
Absolutely. When we're clear about those values, it's so much easier to make decisions, ones that align with who we are.
Totally. It's like having a compass.
Right.
To guide our choices.
Big and small.
Exactly. So, speaking of compass,
Yeah.
maybe we should recalibrate a bit.
Okay, yeah.
Before we jump into those gratitude and joy prompts,
Sounds good.
they say like the perfect way to end on a high note. What do you think?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right. So, ready to infuse some gratitude and joy into this exploration?
Absolutely. I'm all about ending on a high note, and Stallion definitely delivers on that.
They do.
They say, and I'm quoting here, gratitude brings joy to the everyday. By focusing on the positives, you invite more light into your life.
That is so good. It's like a recipe for happiness.
It really is.
And they offer some practical ingredients for that recipe with these prompts.
For sure. One that I always come back to is write about 3 moments today that made you smile.
Oh, I like that one.
How can you create more of these moments tomorrow? Such a simple yet powerful way to shift our focus.
It's like training your brain to see those little joys, throughout the day.
Mm.
And you know what? Sometimes just looking for them actually creates more of them.
It's true. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy of happiness.
Right.
It's all about actively cultivating that positive, appreciative mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Another prompt that I find really insightful,
Yep.
it asks about a piece of advice that changed your perspective.
Ooh.
How has it shaped your approach to life?
Oh, I love that one. It's like tapping into the wisdom of others
Right.
and seeing how it's impacted our journey.
Yeah.
There's a quote by Maya Angelou that's always stayed with me. I've learned that people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel.
Oh, wow. That's beautiful.
It's a reminder to always lead with kindness,
Mm.
with compassion.
I love that. It speaks to the power of connection,
Yeah.
and how even just small acts of kindness, they can make a big difference. As we've been talking about these prompts, it's really struck me how they all connect back to this idea of intentional living.
Yeah, so true.
Whether it's, looking at our past, being present, or dreaming about the future, it's all about making those choices that align with our values and what we want.
That is such a good observation. It's like these prompts are like little nudges
Yeah.
to become more aware of our thoughts, our feelings, our actions, so we can create a life that feels real, fulfilling.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a journey, right? It's ongoing. We're always learning, growing. But having these tools for self-reflection,
Yeah,
they can help us navigate it all
Yeah.
with more intention, with more self-compassion.
for sure. And speaking of tools, I have to give Stallion credit
Oh, yeah.
for their marketing.
What do you mean?
They give you these amazing prompts, and then
Yeah.
bam, they've got these gorgeous A5 leather journals.
I know, right? It's smart.
It's brilliant. They've created this whole experience
Mm.
around self-reflection, from the prompts to the physical act of writing in a beautiful journal.
I love that.
It's like they're saying, hey, you've invested in your inner world. Now treat yourself to a journal that reflects that.
I'm here for it.
Me too.
Mm-hmm.
There's something so satisfying about putting pen to paper, especially in a journal that feels special.
Oh, yeah. It adds like a weight to it.
It does. And remember, these prompts are just a starting point.
Mm.
The real magic happens when we just let our thoughts flow.
Right, right.
Don't be afraid to go off on tangents. Explore those unexpected connections.
Mm-hmm.
Really dive deep.
That's where the aha moments are.
Yes.
In those moments of deep reflection, that's when we discover things about ourselves.
Totally.
Get clarity on our goals. Find those new paths to growth.
And, you don't need a fancy leather journal to start reflecting.
That's true.
A simple notebook works.
Mhm.
The Notes app on your phone, even just a quiet space to think.
It's about making the time.
Exactly. Carving out that time and space, however it works for you.
That's so important to remember.
It is.
Yeah.
Don't let the tools be a barrier.
Mm.
The real change happens inside.
Absolutely.
And it's a practice, right?
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
days the words will flow and some days it'll be tough.
That's how it goes.
But it's the consistency that matters.
Mm.
Like anything, the more you practice, the easier it gets, the more insightful it becomes.
For sure. And maybe we'll discover we are journaling people after all.
Right.
And treat ourselves to one of those Stallion journals down the road.
Exactly. I think that's a great point to wrap up on. Whether you're a seasoned journaler or just starting out,
Mm-hmm.
these 50 prompts offer so much for self-discovery, for growth.
They really do.
And remember, this is your journey. So choose the prompts that speak to you, make them your own, and most importantly, enjoy the process.
Beautifully said.
Yeah.
Now, before we officially close out this deep dive,
Yes.
I want to leave our listeners with one final prompt,
Okay, I like it.
something to think about. As they continue this journey of self-reflection, think about a time when you surprised yourself. What did you learn about what you're capable of? And how can you keep challenging yourself in positive ways?
Oh, that's a good one. It's a reminder that we're always evolving, capable of so much more than we think.
Exactly. And by embracing those challenges, stepping outside our comfort zones, reflecting on it all, we unlock new levels of growth and self-discovery.
So well said. So to our amazing listeners, keep exploring, keep reflecting, and keep surprising yourselves.
We'll catch you on our next deep dive.
It's interesting, right? We've been talking about all these like deep prompts,
Yeah.
but sometimes the simplest ones are the most powerful.
Totally. Like that one about just noticing 3 things that made you smile.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So simple, but so good for shifting your perspective, bringing in that gratitude.
Exactly. It's like a reminder that even when life's crazy, there's always those little bits of joy if we just take a moment to see them.
And that's really what this whole deep dive has been about, hasn't it?
I think so.
Taking that time to pause, to reflect, to connect with ourselves. Whether we use these Stallion prompts or just our own thoughts, journaling can be so powerful for change.
Absolutely. It's like giving ourselves that space to explore, our inner world, to process our experiences, and to make sense of everything.
And the more we do that, the more self-aware we become.
Right.
And the more intentional we can be with our lives.
I love that. And remember, self-awareness, it's not a finish line.
No, it's no.
It's a journey.
It's ongoing. It's about showing up for ourselves with curiosity, with compassion, and allowing ourselves to grow and change.
Beautifully said. So as we wrap up this deep dive on reflective journaling, I want to leave our listeners with one last thought. What's one small step you can take today to bring more self-reflection into your life?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Maybe it's 5 minutes before bed to write down some thoughts, or picking one of Stallion's prompts to think about on your commute.
That's a good idea.
Or even just taking some deep breaths throughout the day, just to check in with yourself.
So many possibilities. And remember, even small things, done consistently, they can make a big difference.
They really can. So be patient with yourselves, embrace the process, and enjoy the journey of self-discovery.
Couldn't said it better myself.
Thanks for joining us on this reflective adventure. We'll see you next time for another deep dive into a topic that'll spark your curiosity and broaden your horizons.
Until then, keep exploring.